I, 32 male, thought that Amelia, 32 female, was going to be the person I built my life with, but I've discovered that she has cheated on me with her best friend's new boyfriend, and to be quite honest, I'm struggling to understand where I went wrong. I've realized that the life I thought I was building isn't there anymore, and it is rather distressing. A lot of the things I have done in the present had the future as a major consideration, with Amelia a big part of that, but I can't tolerate a cheater. If it happened in a past relationship, only just maybe, but for it to happen to me, no way. I can't. She and Clara have been friends since I met Amelia. They were best friends, and even though they have a shared friend group, it has always been clear that the two of them come in as a pair. That's part of the reason why I can't truly comprehend what is happening, because it simply doesn't make sense to me. There's no way she would just betray someone who she has been so close to all these years. I could understand it if she cheated on me with some regular guy who caught her eye at a club, but to do it specifically with her best friend's man is something I don't get. I found out because I had her phone at the very worst time for her. She told me to hold it while she started to move some things around in our kitchen. As I held the phone, it vibrated, and a notification came in. When I checked, it was from Paul. The only Paul she has talked to me about is the Paul that Clara is dating. I've met the guy a few times, and I thought that he was cool, at least from the brief time that I've had with him. The message was, "When can we see next?" I somehow had the presence of mind in that moment to take a picture of the notification with my phone, but that wasn't my first response. The first thing was confusion because it didn't make sense that Paul and Amelia would have any reason to see each other alone. If Clara was going to be there, it would have made more sense for Clara to reach out to Amelia and then Paul would tag along. I couldn't get why Paul would be messaging my wife directly. Despite how confused I was, I knew that something wasn't right, and that was enough to stop me from asking her about it. I knew I wasn't going to get the truth, especially if I was right. So whatever answer I was going to get was going to be along the lines of, "It's not what it looks like." When she took her phone back and started using it, I didn't see any worry in her face that I might have seen the message. She just went straight into using her phone, though I couldn't see what was on her screen. The next day, I made some small talk and found a casual way to direct it to Clara and Paul. I asked her what she thought about him, and I had thought about it, and I realized that it was possible that she and Paul were planning something for Clara, but I knew it was a stretch since Amelia hadn't told me about anything of the sort. I asked, though, so that she'd have the chance to mention it if she had forgotten to earlier, but nope, she just told me that she thought he was a cool guy and a good fit for Clara. Besides the notification, I had nothing to use as a basis to accuse her. I felt that if she tried, she very easily would be able to dodge my accusation. The moment I revealed my hand, I wasn't going to have any more power to confront her, since she would immediately go and clean up her messages with a guy. So no, I had to find out what was going on first. She doesn't sleep heavily, but the only time I would be able to check her phone without enough time to get caught was going to be when she was sleeping. I waited for her to put her phone on her wireless charger, and 2 hours after that, when I was sure she was sleeping, I stepped out of bed and went to the bathroom. After coming out, I noticed she hadn't even moved from her original position, so I just threw the anxiety aside, walked to her side of the bed, and picked up her phone. I had my phone in my hand, and I was going to directly record her screen instead of screenshotting, since it would be easier and quicker than screenshotting, sending the evidence to myself, and then deleting it from her phone. I went to her messages with Paul, and the funny thing is that I didn't even bother reading the messages then and there. I just made sure that the screen was readable from my camera, and I started to slowly scroll through the messages. I would read them in the video later on. There wasn't that much conversation between the two of them. Clara started dating Paul about 5 months ago or so, and it seemed that Amelia only started talking to him actively about 2 months ago. They had a concerning number of phone calls too, especially for people who were friends of friends. There couldn't be anything appropriate happening there. It took me about 3 minutes to do that, and I put her phone back the way I found it. I knew she wouldn't have any idea of what I had done. When I checked the video, I could read 90% of the messages that I had recorded, and it became very obvious that Amelia and Paul were sleeping together. Painfully obvious. There were texts talking about meeting up, texts talking about how good whatever they did was, and even texts talking crap about Clara. That part surprised me because even if you're going to betray your friend in that way, I wanted to think there was still going to be a little loyalty towards her. I genuinely don't know what to do. It is really hard to come to the realization that not only has your wife been cheating on you, but she's been doing it in a way that hurts someone else who she is really close to. I thought she was a good person, but there's no way you can do what she is doing and still be considered a good person. There's no logical explanation. This isn't the kind of affair you can write off by claiming you were looking for excitement or you felt lonely because you're hurting two of the closest people to you in the exact same time. It hurts, but I think I'm feeling more confusion than pain right now because it is proving very difficult for me to understand why. Ultimately, it is what it is. She made her choice, and there isn't anything I can do about it, whether I understand it or not. So I'm going to move the way anyone who has been cheated on should move. I'm going to confront her and end things, but only when I finally have everything in order. The next thing I'm going to do is get a divorce lawyer, so I'll be fully prepared for whatever the future holds in store for me at this point. I should be back with an update at some point, but I don't know when. Writing about this helps me calm down a bit, so whatever will come up next, I'll write about that too. Update 1. I'm back with an update on my last post. There's a lot that I need to talk about because a lot has happened. First, I think I might have found something out about Amelia. Some of you might not approve because I had to be a little sleazy to get there, but I didn't do anything expressly wrong. On the moral scoreboard, I'm still much higher than a woman who cheats on her husband with the boyfriend of her best friend. And when you find out what I learned, she'll drop lower. I found out that she doesn't seem to really like Clara. I know that sounds crazy because Clara has been her best friend since I've known Amelia, and that's almost been 10 years. Maybe this is what girl friendships are like, but it seems that there are a lot of negative emotions under the surface, which is strange. I noticed that she started to make a few offhand comments about Clara. I've never seen her do that before, but she was so casual with them that I'm not sure if I had said something, she would have claimed that she was just joking around. For instance, saying that Clara's relationship with Paul likely wouldn't last because she sucked at keeping good men. Another time, she showed me a picture of Clara where she was wearing a top showing a lot of cleavage, and she said that Clara likes to dress for male attention. They're not the most offensive things in the world to say, but it is not how she has ever talked about Clara, at least not with me. My assumption was that she started to feel better than Clara because she was sleeping with her man. It was odd behavior, but I had the idea that those feelings might have been buried in her for a very long time. Amelia's life is good. Clara has had a few bursts of great things happening for her, and I wondered if there was also jealousy at play. Because from afar, Paul seems like a catch. Obviously not if he's a cheater, but he looks that way from afar. Of course, as a married woman, it doesn't make any sense for Amelia to want him. So this is the part where I'm not going to be considered a great guy. I got Amelia drunk because I wanted to know the truth about her and Clara. I knew that she might be too guarded even when drunk to admit to an affair, though I still tried to find out. The night started out fun, with us playing some board games, eating fast food, and listening to music. It actually made me wish that our marriage wasn't about to fall apart. But I made sure the alcohol kept coming, and since I can handle it better than she can, and I paced myself better, she was drunk pretty quickly. I started asking a bunch of questions, and I could see that she was very chatty. Then I took things to Clara. The moment I mentioned her name, she scoffed. She said that every time Clara wins, she can't help but throw it in everyone's faces. I love her, but a lot of the time she needs to be knocked down a peg. I didn't really have to prompt it before she said it, which was strange. I would have expected her first words about her to be singing her praise, but instead, it was her talking negatively. I brought up Paul, hoping she'd let something slip, but instead, she ranted about how much Clara was yapping about Paul when they first met up, as if she's the only person to be in a relationship. It all made sense to me at that point, but it was still extremely hard for me to reconcile that it was Amelia doing it to Clara. The idea I had of the two of them was so much sweeter than what I was hearing. And the worst part is, I had the feeling that Clara only had wholesome emotions when it came to Amelia. Of course, I recorded that entire conversation with her because it was going to be necessary for me to have that information when I chose to confront her. And speaking of that, since I had already spoken to a divorce lawyer, I knew it was time to get the ball rolling. It wasn't the next day after getting her drunk, but a few days after that, I decided to confront her. I did give it a lot of thought, but ultimately, I decided that it was best for me to just go straight at it instead of planning some kind of big spectacle around it. I know you've been sleeping with Paul, was all I had to say. Her eyes immediately widened. I could tell she wanted to lie her way out of it, but she couldn't get the first sentence out. She didn't know what to say. I just sat back and let her panic. Eventually, she was able to talk, and her first thing was, "Let me explain, please." I didn't say anything to that. I just gestured for her to keep going. I'm sure she was having trouble figuring out the defense because she didn't know how I found out. She couldn't ask either, because it would have been such a poor question to ask in that moment. I snapped at her. She wasn't saying anything, and her reaction was all the guilt I needed. I told her that she was a horrible person. She was a married woman cheating. That was bad. Even if she was single, she cheated with her best friend's man. That was bad. She did both of them at the same time. I told her that she was horrible, and she wasn't meant to let anyone convince her that she wasn't. I told her that I hated that I had fallen in love with her, and none of it was worth it considering how she made it end. She couldn't explain herself, so with tears in her eyes, she just apologized. She told me that she didn't mean to hurt me. She claimed it just happened. And even though she didn't have an excuse, she was sorry that she had hurt me. None of her words meant anything to me because it takes a lot of intent to cheat. Keep it going for months. And know that you're hurting your friend and your husband. I wasn't surprised that she had so little to say. She was in a horrible position as far as cheating goes. There was no reasonable explanation. I had been a good husband to her, so I knew that it had nothing to do with any deficiencies of mine. I told her that she had to pack her things and get out of the house. She started to panic at that point and told me that we could talk about things, but I let her know that my lawyer had already prepared the papers, so I had already given it plenty of thought. Eventually, she got out of the house with a bunch of her stuff, though she tried to beg one last time. She got the idea that I wasn't going to fold, so she stopped without trying too hard. I had her served the very next day because I wanted her to know how absolutely serious I was. We started the divorce proceedings, and from all indications, we might be able to come to a quick agreement and move on, because it looks like she's ready to work with me. Hopefully things stay that way. Update 2. It's me again, and I have what should be a fitting way to conclude my narration of what I've been through after discovering my wife was cheating on me. The first thing I'll say is that despite looking like our divorce was going to go smoothly, it didn't. We eventually had to go to court since she got greedy. The split there was fair, as expected. I got the house, which I think was a perk of getting her out of it first. She's not getting alimony because we earn a similar amount. We do have only one car, and she got that and a slightly higher percentage of money from our joint savings. Ultimately, it mostly balanced out, so that's fine by me. The divorce isn't the interesting part. It is everything that happened after. I called Clara and told her that I needed to speak to her. She seemed hesitant because she knew that Amelia and I were no longer together. But I told her it was important, so she agreed. When I saw her, I apologized because I knew it was going to be a real blow, but I primed her to hear something heavy, and then I told her that Amelia had slept with her boyfriend. Her mouth dropped open. I guess she expected it to be anything else. I explained that that was why we had divorced. She said Amelia had told her something entirely different. I spent a lot of the time I was with her sympathizing to make her feel better, but it was tough. I know how I felt when I found out. It took about 30 minutes, but she calmed down enough at the end to ask me for the evidence I had. I had the video of Amelia drunkenly admitting to how she felt about Clara and the video I took of Amelia's phone. Clara has always been a chill person, but I could see how genuinely furious she was. I didn't blame her. She had it worse than me. She was betrayed by her friend and her partner. It was only my partner for me. I wasn't around for everything that came after this point, but Clara told me how it went. She said that she invited their entire friend group out for dinner because she had an announcement to make. I'm sure a lot of them thought that it had to do with getting proposed to or having a baby. But when they were all there, and they had all had quite a bit of fun, Clara revealed Amelia's betrayal to everyone. Needless to say, that part didn't go well. Clara airdropped the evidence to others, so they were able to see exactly how bad it was. And yeah, it was pretty bad in their eyes. Amelia tried to defend herself, but she said something stupid which triggered one of her friends, who pounced on her. Amelia is fine, but she got roughed up a little. After the scuffle was separated, everyone else decided to unleash on her, and I got a video of Amelia actually bawling as her best friends all told them what they thought of her after her betrayal. She felt ganged up on, which she definitely deserved. She's not a good person, and they showed her that. They kicked her out of their group chat and went on a very publicized night out, which excluded Amelia. I felt like they did that to make her feel bad, and it worked, because Clara told me that Amelia came back to beg, saying that her life felt empty without her friends. Of course, no one listened because she had been proven to be a backstabber, and nobody wanted that around them. She didn't even reach out to me, despite knowing I had been the one to tell them what had happened. She deserved to lose everyone who had been in her circle just months ago. Now she's crying and whining on Instagram about how she doesn't have anyone. She's not going to get sympathy from anyone of the people who matter. Her and Paul are both single, so they can be for each other if they want. I keep seeing Amelia crashing out on Instagram, and it is funny. It is sad, but if you know the story, you will know it is what she deserves. I'm just glad that I was able to play a part in paying her back for being such a scumbag. That should be the end of any business between me and her, and I'm glad. I'm very glad that it ended in such a satisfying manner. At least I got something out of it. You don't accidentally sleep with your best friend's boyfriend for months. All those little moments about Clara needing to be knocked down a peg suddenly make everything click. This wasn't some great love story between her and Paul. This was insecurity with a pulse. She didn't want him because he was special. She wanted him because Clara had him. And when the truth came out to the friend group, people don't like discovering that person they trusted most was quietly dismantling the group from the inside. Of course, they reacted. When you betray two of the closest people in your life at the same time, you don't get to control the narrative afterward. She lost her husband, her best friend, and her social circle to prove what exactly? That she could win? That's a very expensive trophy. Have you ever had a friend who competed with you instead of celebrating you? Let us know in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on Our Space. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.